That as we get ready for the Battleground choice, and having had their first loss in this series now, Team Zealots will choose either first pick or Battleground. Sky Temple is still up. We've been talking about Zealots on Sky Temple all tournament long whenever we talk about Zealots. Do you anticipate Sky here?
I think so. It's a great moment to kind of get that momentum back to their favor, right? Because this is the first game that they've lost in quite some time, and in going up against Dignitas on their home turf on Infernal Shrines and tying up the series 2-2, I feel like that's what I want to do. I'd be like, claim it for myself, instead going to go for Tomb of the Spider Queen on the side for Dignitas. Zealots goes with that first pick. Whoops.
Back to Tomb. Haven't had too many Tomb games this tournament, Mike.
I mean, I'm really excited to see it. You know, two very top high-level EU teams battling off on one of EU's best maps. Granted, it hasn't been played that much, you know, this entire tournament, but I still am confident saying that is one of EU's strongest maps. So just Tyrael Blaze, like that's what it comes down to me. I don't think you can give either of these teams both of those heroes. I mean, they're both just so proficient in that front line, right? You know, the duo of both the tanks are just so good, you know, comboing both of those ultimates.
I think one thing to note too with the Stukov and some of the problems that Shad has been able to enforce, in the last game it was not nearly as problematic, and I can't help but feel like a lot of that was the frontliner choice. ETC is great, but he also is pretty predictable in the power side, or at least more dodgeable than a point and click Diablo hard force and some of the other characters that we see Zealots typically go for those initiations. And so if we see the Stukov and it's still going to be overly problematic, I can't help but feel like Zealots should be looking more towards getting those hard force tanks.
And this is definitely a battleground where the Diablo could work, as well as the Garrosh that we've seen. So having those initiation in terms of, there's different ways to initiate with those tanks, I think that does fit well. But I also think that Dignitas, with this battleground pickup, does give them some flexibility in terms of draft, things like that. Because we're in a best of 7, we're undoubtedly, if we go all game, Sky Temple's going to come out. I think for Dignitas, this is a good place for them to be. And giving up that first pick, I don't think is that crazy here to Zealots.
The other thing that I feel like is very different from that kind of pressure in the compositions that maybe will come to play here as well is the Tracer versus Genji problem that we've, you know, kind of which is better versus what. Genji absolutely applied more pressure faster than Tracer generally seems to be. She is getting a lot more on kind of wave clear and counter rotations. She's a lot more effective, it seems like, in the laning phase, but versus that Stukov and the Gul'dan at the very kind of protect your backliners, Genji is a huge outlier, or very different in the impact. Talking about Tracer though, Dig hovering it.
I mean, that has been a hero prioritized both these teams in this series. And I mean, in past series as well, they both have very strong Tracer players, but the Zealots opting into that Tyrael ban, I feel like that the Tyrael's been picked over and over, right? But it hasn't been banned out that much. That makes me feel like they're gonna pick up that Blaze. But who knows? Last time I thought they were going to pick Blaze, and they did go for the Maiev as well. So I personally would love to see the Blaze. I feel like this is one of his strongest maps, just because wave clear is so important, as well as, you know, Zarmany has done so well on that hero. Just give it to him, right? Let him make those plays again.
I don't know why, but I feel like something from Dignitas might come out here, whether they go the Diablo route, whether they might even venture down the old Stitches route. Something a little bit old school Dignitas I feel might be brewing to kind of disrupt things. Tracer obviously is a strong hero, but she's a hard hero to get a hold of sometimes. So I feel like Dignitas, they can play standard, but if they really want to try and counter the aggression, I'd like to see them maybe throw Zealots a loop here. Just don't show too much early, I think.
With a Blaze on a map like Tomb, I mean, Blaze has got to be considering Leoric and how problematic he can be in that kind of laning setup, but I can't help but feel like on Tomb of the Spider Queen, to see that high Blaze, I do feel like that might be a shift in priority compared to some of the other maps where the Leoric has come out. If the Dig is eventually managed to go in that direction, Junkrat is something that they might be able to utilize and help keep control not only over the map, but have this energy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy you bring up that Junkrat. I was going to say, what? I could see a realm of possibility, a very likely possibility, that maybe they actually pick up the Junkrat right here in the 1-2. It has been banned out a couple times. Okay, they do go for the Maiev Leoric. Very solid picks. Like we mentioned, the Leo, he's really strong into the Blaze, and they want to secure that now for them. I would not be surprised if Zealots ends up banning out the Junkrat in the second rotation, though, thus like not allowing Snitch on that hero. He's been so dominant.
I think Junkrat, but I also think that Gul'dan. has to be considered. Zealots, they didn't have the best showing in the last game, does really well on this battleground for the wave clear, for some of that initiation to disrupt a lot of that. It's also been kind of a fallback hero for Poke at times to fall back. This gives you the wave clear that you're going to lack a little bit. Leo will be in the solo lane. Maev's going to try and initiate. I think that Gul'dan can fit in there because Maev is the snitch hero, so we're going to be looking for the damage dealer, and I think they're going to need some sustain, they're going to need some wave clear, and that, if it's not the Junkrat, I feel might be the pickup.
As far as a Gul'dan possibly for Zealots, how did you guys feel about Chris's Gul'dan in the last game? Because he was under an immense amount of pressure, definitely, but in general, we see him sticking more to those auto attack heroes, those highly mobile heroes like the Hanzo, like the Greymane. Do you think they'll return to something like that later on in their draft?
I feel like if they were going to do it, they would have done it in the 2-3. Okay. So I do feel like that was a very difficult Gul'dan game, but I also feel like it was very underwhelming, right? Kaldar mentioned in the cast, he didn't, I don't know if he even finished the E-Quest throughout the whole time. He ended up having to opt into the Q talent because he only had about 22 stacks at level 20, which is very rare on that hero. And yes, there was double invul and then a lot of pressure coming out on him, but generally you need to get that quest finished by level 16 to be getting a lot of value on the Gul'dan. So they do opt into the Johanna Uther, prioritizing wave clear, and I feel like Chromie is a hero that we are 100% going to see in this draft. I feel like it's very strong for both sides. I think Zealots really wants that later on in the draft, so I'm curious to see if Dignitas does end up picking it in the 3-4.
The Chromie was actually the very next point I was going to say. The Gul'dan being banned out there, Chromie is a counter towards Gul'dan because he's a little bit squishier, tends to have that delicate balance using that life tap in terms of having that life and health balance. So Chromie, obviously very good at poking that style down. They switch it to the Chromie at the last second there.
I'm glad to see them swap off the Gul'dan. I can't help but feel like if they pick up the Chromie for themselves and they're trying to get that to deny and the synergy they can have and the control in the upper half of the map for Johanna and already having a pretty prominent lane matchup for the Leoric into the Blaze, the last thing I want to do is be losing my 4. And so it demands at least ask, would you like to deal with the problem of our mage that synergizes with the Leoric into late game team fights? It's not too shabby into a cage as well. It just really takes the map control, which we know to be relevant on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and still keeps it into Dignitas' favor. But if they let that go, I think it draws, a resource that wasn't necessary for them, or at least not help them too much into the fold.
I feel like only in Europe do we see a mage ban versus a mage ban, guys.
Why not? Why not? For Dignitas, I think right now, I feel like they might go into their damage dealer, but if they want to hold it, maybe a Lunara gives you a little bit of wave clear, gives you that team fight potential, but I feel the Junkrat is going to be a little bit more likely. They could always fall back to the Tychus, but I think finding some combo to get off there. Li Ming sounds appealing to follow up, but when it comes to wave clear, is that going to be enough with that Maev Li Ming? So those are kind of like the 3 main that I see. There's the Malfurion. We do get the Junkrat.
Really like this composition so far from Dignitas. It feels not only what they seem to be running within their own region, within HGC Europe, but it just sticks to objective strike, very calculated according to what we've seen so far from Zealots. By no means do I feel like they've won it, but you can see that they're really thinking about how they can stop what Zealots has managed to make happen in the series and at the Western Clash.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the one thing that Zealots really has going for them in this draft is they might be able to just secure all-in on wave clear if they did go some kind of a Tassadar composition, maybe like a Tass Hanzo, having that insta wave clear coming out from the Johanna Tass. But that being said, I mean, the wave clear on the side of Dignitas is really strong as well. Junkrat, Leo, and Malfurion all have decent wave clear. I mean, okay, they do end up going for the Tass Hanzo. I mean, ADRD is a beast on Tass. I mean, that's something we know. It's constantly been banned out against Zealots because of his prowess on that hero. And I think this comp allows for a lot of poke as well as their wave clear being really strong. And the biggest thing that I want to know is their turn-in stall is so good. Having that Tassadar, having that Johanna blind, having the wave of light coming out from the Uther and just Hanzo poke, they're going to be able to clear out those waves and stall out those turn-ins for a really long time.
When it comes to Warriors, I was going to say, when it comes to Warriors, there's 2 tanks that kind of fit into that role that I think were considered, right? The Anubarak and potentially the ETC. And I think that Hanzo does really well because ETC is going to have a hard time finding an initiation with the Johanna, with the Uther, with that amount of protection, and it kind of limits what ETC can do. Plus, you could go sharpened arrowheads at level 7, make sure and reduce that armor. And the same can be said for Anubarak. Anubarak is relatively squishy, especially when you start to take some of that armor down. So now, one way to play safe, play back, have a little bit of wave clear, playmaking potential without having the full. And this is sometimes when we see Stitch's compositions, it's so much on landing the hook for Stitches. But you also have Maiev. And one thing to consider that we've seen from all Johanna picks so far, the minute that cord comes out, that leash that's going to be on there, Iron Skin is used. That is a prime target the minute that Iron Skin goes down to land a hook. So you have multiple ways of initiating instead of just relying on that hook throughout the game, which is far more difficult.
It does seem like Zealots have a lot of agile heroes who can try to get away from things like hooks and tethers. It's just a matter of, do they use those, get forced, and then the next one comes in?
I don't think so. At least not likely within the laning phase of this game, which I feel like is going to be a lot of the control. I do definitely agree with you, especially with like the ETC and some of the trade-offs into the Hanzo, but just with the map control that Dignitas already has at this point in time, and with so much safety within the 4, I can understand, looking for those late game hooks. But my question is does that lack too much into the 4 and too, kind of responsive to where this game goes to even, and then suddenly the Stitches is too disabling within the team fight to where you didn't get enough value out of it? Because like you said, they're safe within the lanes, and it's not like you're looking at it, well, Dignitas is so far ahead in wave clear that it's going to make up for it. Yes, they have phenomenal wave clear, but it's not like it's bad for Zealots either. Johanna and Tassadar alone just kind of look at a wave and go, see ya, it's out. So I'm still torn.
Yeah, it's a tough one to make predictions here, Mike, but I think you've got it in you.
I do have it in me. It's very close. I'm feeling like 51%. I'm gonna go with Zealots. I like the Stitches pitches. The Stitches pick, to me, you don't really have a target outside of Hanzo, right? They're Tassadar has E, the other 2 are tanks, and then it's an Uther. So Hanzo is the one hero that you want to be hooking, but generally he's able to outrange you. So I'm going with Zealots.
And Jayhow?
I've been wrong every time. I'm going to try and make sure that I'm right this time, because I'm actually going to go Dignitas again. I feel they're compositionally, they're going to be the better team in the early game, mid game, and late game, outside of maybe a little bit of late game Tassadar.
I've been wrong every time too, and I'm still going to continue to vote alongside you, because I still, I think that Dignitas, my argument is going to be Dignitas, whenever they're playing on their maps so far, I have no reason to kind of lose faith. They showed that they still had a pretty good control over a majority of last game. All the games have been close, but when Dig picks the map, they control the pace, and Tomb of the Spider Queen is their selection.
Yeah, I agree with you. Zealots in regular league play on Tomb of the Spider Queen, not very successful. So I think it's going to be Team Dignitas as well, which brings them one step closer to getting the Grand Finals win, though not maybe in the manner that they thought of, although generally still looking good. But they have lost your faith, chat, as chat continues to root for the underdogs. Trixler and Caldor, what do you think of that draft?
I think we love the draft. JPL, it's time to hook. And when he pulls out those hooks, man, he usually lands them.
It's time for Stitches again, and that's also what won them last year's Western Clash in Katowice. So we're gonna find out if that's happening today again. To the left side of the map, here on Team of the Spider Queen, we have by Zomani, Blaze, Shadow Uther, Mopsy on Johanna, Chris on Hanzo, ADRD on Tassadar. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Zealots.
On the right, in the red, Zelia playing Malfurion, JPL and Stitches, Snitch on Maiev, Poik on Junkrat, Wubby on Leoric. It's Dignitas!
All right, the Dignitas fan club has definitely awoken up after the last game, and we have already now with Snitch on Maiev, Poik this time on Junkrat. So the 2 assassin players for Dignitas are at it again. Fantastic last game that they played on Infernal Shrines. Insane damage output from Poik in particular on Hanzo. But this time, oh, the hook is there, the root follow-up.
Already Zarmany gonna be hit, but he's able to get out the jet propulsion. The root was there right afterwards, but Dignitas having a hard time getting that kill thanks to that Pyromania.
Yeah, but they are not wasting any time here. Immediately starting with the hook connect, and you could see, of course, that Celia is right there with the roots, making sure that the target can be attacked. But no kill yet, but definitely a bit of a scary moment for the Zealots in the early game.
Such a scary moment here. If JPL gets a hook into a Malfurion root, Poik can drop down the mine right afterwards, throw someone behind turrets. Zealots have to be careful with that. And one thing they're going to do here is have that Johanna sit in the front line, try to always block those hooks from coming in.
Yeah, really action-packed format that we're currently having here. Both of the teams are pushing out very far, but Dignitas is just a bit better on the wave clear and are starting to show that as well. Down to the bottom of the map, the solo lane where Blaze is going up against Leoric, but here again, Snitch with the play attempt against Mopsio, and both sides are just firing away.
Just so much displacement here for Dignitas. Zealots are just being as careful as possible, but trying to trade where they can, while Junkrat constantly popping in the damage. Again, another knockback. Chris gets thrown.
It's absolutely crazy, and here comes another hook. Mopsio needs to be so careful here. Here comes the hook after the tether. Mopsio doesn't have his trade ready. Mazamani moves in as well, but you talked about it. The displacement, hooks, the tether, and also the mines that we're seeing. It's absolutely insane how Dignitas can just ping-pong them around the map.
Shadowy showing how important it is to disrupt this combo if possible. With that hook coming out on Mopsio, if we had a bind come out from Maiev, that would have been a dead Johanna. He kept up, brought the stun out on Maiev to make sure that nothing would be occurring, but Dignitas is already showing that early aggressive play they have available to them.
Yeah, they definitely are. And Whoopi is also doing extremely well down here at the bot lane. Zelia goes in for a quick visit and says, hey, here's a quick heal. Have fun at the bot lane and make sure that Blaze is not getting too cheeky. And in the meantime, the rest of Dignitas is already starting to turn in gems. 24 on their side.
Zelia's a nice guy, bringing heals to his teammates in the bottom lane. I'm actually kind of curious about the Merc camp soon.
Yeah, you know with Zelia, what really impressed me a little bit? The commitment to his hairstyle. Because we've been talking the other day about if he wakes up like this or if he just spends a lot of time in the bathroom. By now, I'm pretty sure it's a lot of time in the bathroom. He walked backwards to the bus today so that his hair wouldn't get ruined by the wind.
Wow, what a legend, man. Big plays right there, and Snitch trying to make his own big play. Comes in, pulls in a couple members. Chris is low. Chris jumps away with a shield from Tass and are barely survived, but Whoopi, he's here as well.
Whoopi isn't done yet with this play, and we have the roots on the ground, and look at the front line. Johanna is down. Hanzo saved by the shield, but Mopsy was caught a bit out of position there because we saw immediately how Malfurion cut off his path of retreat. We had also Leoric moving in, and Dignitas gets the first kill of the game.
And speaking about walking backwards, Maiev coming in there and being able to pull 3 targets in made it very difficult for Zealots to get the disengage they wanted, as you called out. Team Dignitas steps forward for a little bit here, cleans up the night camp that was pushing in the middle, and they continue to grab gems. And they're close to a turn, and they have 31 already dropped off.
And we talked about the interrupt potential against turn-ins. This is something that Michael highlighted on the desk. But at this point, they don't even get close to it. The entire control over the 2 turn-in points goes to Dignitas. 45 gems turn in against 0. JPL, on the other hand, needs to be a bit cautious here since he was a bit far out. Chris moonwalking away here as the grenades are coming in, but still delivering a few shots and charging up the Stormbolt.
Yeah, JPL was actually trying to bait a fight there by going for the turn-in, waiting for Zelt to step up to go for the disruption. He popped out a hook, it didn't connect. Another one there too, and ADRD is able to sidestep. So Wubby, taking some damage on the right, has to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, Condemn was also pretty good on the side of Mopsio, but still with all the displacement for Dignitas, you have to be careful when you go this far out.
Absolutely incredible trades between both of our teams. The moment Dignitas misses any type of engage, Zelt is willing to step forward and trade out that redemption for Chris, getting closer and closer to being done. In fact, it's actually already done.
Oh, the hook connecting against Chad, but the follow-up is not there. Zealots are desperately trying to interrupt these turn-in attempts by Dignitas since the red team is currently so close, only 2 gems away from reaching the first wave. And in Europe, it's all about attempting to get that double turn-in to build up enough momentum to dominate the entire flow of the game.
All the teams in Europe have perfected that double turn-in that you just talked about. Getting the first one gets you to level 9, gets you close to level 10, and if you get that second turn-in, that's typically where we're going to start and run with the game. Zealots have allowed for Dignitas to turn in, and they go for the Giants, but Dignitas sniffs it out.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing them moving in down here at the bot lane, and it is going to be a massive fight. ADRD is a bit late on the Tassadar, and currently we're seeing the spot being held by Whoopi. Down goes Uther as the first kill. Mopsio is getting healed over and over again, but as Zamani tries to retreat, he's getting hooked back in, and that's not only the second kill, that's another 14 gems lost.
Gotta call out Snitch there, rotating down to the bottom lane. Uther was actually sacrificed as they wanted to get the heals with his trait, but the moment he died, Maiev showed up, pulled everybody in, and got Junkrat poked.
Look at the push. With the Siege Giant camp that they now have, they have the Rapid Web Weavers on top of it as well, and they can just go through that fort easily, I feel. This is so dangerous for the Zealots. Dignitas is running away with a massive experience lead. They're more than 1.5 levels ahead already.
They can go up to 3 levels here. Another kill too.
Oh
Hanzo gets
my
caught.
God.
Snitch was hiding in the bush and finds a pick.
This is getting brutal. Dignitas is definitely on the way back into the series. They are looking fantastic here. Series is tight, but of course the winner's advantage went to Dignitas. They had the early lead and another kill. Like, they just don't stop. 5 kills against 0. And now with the heroic abilities, we're seeing them chase down Shed. We talked about the displacement. Here it is again.
Going in for Shad as well. Why would they stop? Having heroics and kills available. Wubby goes for an Entomb, misses out on it. AVRD's in top right. Does he have Dimensional Shift? No. Tassadar down as well. In the last couple of minutes, Dignitas has earned a total of 6 kills.
And just look at the gem count. Zealots is down to 25 gems. They have nothing. They lost 6 heroes, and this is an easy boss play for Dignitas. It's a 3-level lead, 6.5 minutes in.
Dignitas has warmed up, and the Zealots seem to be falling apart here. A boss being grabbed. No way for Zealots to contest this. They're not even level 9 here. And as you mentioned, a turn-in available for Dignitas afterwards. This could be keeps.
Yeah, and also look at Nofurian. He's holding back his level 10. He hasn't chosen yet. Twilight Dream is, of course, the talent within Europe. But if Dignitas tries to go for a very early push and tries to sustain that for as long as they possibly can, we could actually see them with Tranquility here over Twilight Dream.
Well, let's see if that will happen here. Malfurion on the left comes in to help out with Wubby clearing out the middle lane. Stitches is in the top, and with 10 right around the corner for Zealots, Dignitas has not turned in yet.
And this is a really interesting one because there are a lot of really good arguments for Twilight Dream, especially with Hook and with Entomb being used, that you can blow the target up after Malfurion opts in for the ult. But there's definitely a bit of a threat here that Dignitas just tries to go for a complete sustainable composition as they push farther in and try to run with this advantage. And I mean, for the Zealots, this is just insane. They just reached level 10 and Dignitas is already about to hit 13.
A small clever play there by Dignitas, pushing with that boss, having that small window where their opponents didn't have 10 allowed for them to get that keep wall opened up, and now they come back and get that Webweaver and the Mercenary Camp. So they get ready for now the third push of the game. The first one was Webweavers, second one was a boss, and the third one's going to be the second rotation of Webweavers.
Tomb of the Spider Queen in Europe is about momentum, and Dignitas is building up a lot of it right now. The 13 talents are in, and everybody with the exception of Malfurion starts to choose the talents. Of course, with a quick pick, he can immediately use the shortcuts within a fight to choose the heroic ability and his ice block if need be. But here comes the commitment, and Tranquility is used. Malfurion goes for Tranquility, and we have them starting to move in here as JPL is going straight for the Beauty Pile, tries to disengage as he's engaged upon 13 versus 11, and they're trying to turn it around. Here comes the KHMIF with the tether.
And the Riptire as well. Zarmny trying to escape as much as he can. Here the Riptire will push him back. Mopsiel's taking the damage. He has a total of 40 gems, so Snitch moves in to force the fight, and Zarmny, left by himself, will eventually fall. Wubby at the beginning of that fight, even using an Entomb as a pseudo force wall, locking out the rest of Zealots.
Absolutely crazy. 7 kills against 0. We are 9 minutes in, and Dignitas is just playing cat and mouse with the Zealots here, pushing through the mid lane this time. They attack wherever they want. All the forts are already gone, and they are opting for keeps now.
This game is a beatdown so far. Dignitas already on the keeps to the south, the middle lane being pushed in, Poik helping it out, getting that experience. This keep is definitely down, but the top one, will it be able to survive? Wubby pushing it in with that Leor.
At this point, Dignitas didn't steal all the pocket money of the Zealots. They're kicking them as they are down on the ground.
They took their pants!
They took everything. The fort, a keep, everything's gone here. The keep at the bot lane lost, and we have a 4-level lead. Dignitas is making this look like quick match.
And if Mopsiel falls here, that's 43 gems. Okay, he's fine now. The Iron Skin comes out, getting some heals too. Zarmny will give the bunker as well. The Entomb comes out, but luckily, the bunker saves him.
The bunker saves them for now, and the arrow comes out from Hanzo, the turnaround attempt, and Wubby goes down. Zealot showing some teeth here, going back in, but the hook connects on Zarmny.
He's still alive, though, and the Divine Shield will keep him up. Chris comes in for a couple of auto attacks. May have overstepped, though. Gets a tether into it. Warden's case gets bounced around like a pinball machine. Chris continuing to pop in. Here's a Riptire still bouncing, still alive, and finally falls.
He survived a lot longer than I thought he would, but with Divine Shield gone and used on Zarmny, there was just absolutely nothing you could do in the long run. Dignitas with 8 kills against 1, 3-level lead. And they will soon enough have a double talent advantage if we continue down that path.
It's scary, but there is good news for Zealots. They have held on to their gems. They have.
You sure?
It's small news. It's on a little expert. Maybe it came in on a PS note, but there is a little bit of good news. They have a turn-in available, but you're right. The 4-level deficit hurts. The 2-talent deficit, it hurts. But Zealots, when they get their Hanzo back, can try and force something soon.
Okay, the good news is they have the amount of gems they need. The bad news is the turn-in spots are in the middle of them.
Yeah, that is the issue. They have to go through with Dignitas, who right now seems to be very angry and on point. Wubby to the top, fighting against Mobsteel. Will be having his Atum available, but deciding not to move into it yet, as Junkrat is at the very bottom.
If they at any point can win a fight, get a kill somehow, somewhere, maybe with the initiation through arrow and then a blessed shield, they could get that turn in and get some structures. This is the only way for Zealots to come back. Get some momentum, get the objective, and take towers and forts down. Once that happens, they might be able to close the experience gap. But right now, Dignitas is doing whatever they want. 16 versus 13, and Dig is pushing in again.
Trying to keep him off the chance here. Zarmi gets grabbed. Will drop the bunker to get rid of the tether. Chris working in those auto attacks, but it's taking some time to put some damage out. It's not enough. Blaze already fall.
Blaze is already down. The camp is stolen. Mobsteel is dead, and that means the gems are gone. 50 gems lost, and that is the death sentence right there. The hook into the roots, and the Divine Shield had to be used to save Chris.
Snitch coming around here looking for Chris. Can he get the tether? Chris is able to jump away, jumps into a mountain as well, and is trying to escape, buying time for his teammates, but he might not be able to buy time for this keep. With the Merc camp joining in, Dignitas looks at it, and it looks like they'll easily take it.
What a beatdown that we are seeing here. The second keep attack the mid lane. The hook connects. But the E, the dimensional shift for ADRD is ready. Already the Siege Giants on the core here as the keep in the mid lane falls. And I have more bad news for the Zealots. The boss is back up on the map.
The boss is back up. There's a turn-in available for Dignitas. Dignitas already moving back towards that turn-in. Mopsio, knowing that boss is on the field and a turn-in is available, has to push forward and try to delay.
They're trying to delay as much as they can, but they don't even have a turn on their own. They haven't turned in a gem yet, by the way. Not even one. It's not that they didn't get a turn in. They didn't even turn a single gem in.
Chris jumps over the wall. Wubby will have that entomb, turns around, puts damage on. Chris has to stay alive. He jumps in the bunker, but he's low on health.
Yeah, he's definitely low, and he is very likely to fall once he exits. He's low, and there's the tether. Chris is still alive somehow, but Maiev goes in. Snitch with a kill. Tranquility used again as Malfurion keeps the fight alive. A triple kill. They go for the quad. Shat is low and on the run, but Dignitas doesn't even care. Run Uther, we're going for the core. We don't care. This is our game as Dignitas is starting to move towards the left side. The Zealots with only Johanna and Uther alive don't stand a chance against a Dignitas that is unleashed.
An absolute beatdown. Dignitas has found the rhythm and is going to take a lead in the series. A Riptire for good measure as well to knock away the Johanna. 13-1 in kills as the core continues to fall. Dignitas goes up in the series, 3-2.
Zealots poke the Hornet's Nest and Dignitas is angry, taking the lead in the series. Once again, the first two maps successful for the Zealots, but now Dignitas is coming back